Arbor. Ann Arbor. If you're a delegate or president, please raise your hand in the digital thing. Good. Battle Creek.
Present.
And I think you should have two more. Okay, and Jen Emery. Okay, okay. Bay City.
When you're done raising your hand and she's counted you after she's called your name, you can lower your hand.
Big Rapids.
Present.
Birmingham.
Present.
Birmingham.
Present.
Cass City.
Present.
Dearborn.
Present.
Detroit. Escanaba.
Present.
Thank you. Farmington.
Present.
Gaylord. Grosse Pointe.
Present.
Iron Mountain, Kingsford. Jackson.
Present.
Livonia.
Present.
Ludington. Marquette.
Present.
Present. Okay.
Marshall. I know you're there, Marshall. Midland.
Present.
Present.
And so.
Monroe. Northville, Novi.
Present.
Plymouth, Canton.
Present.
Port Huron. Rochester.
Present.
Romeo area. Saginaw.
Present.
South Haven.
Present.
Traverse City area.
Present.
Wyandotte Downriver.
Present.
Thank you all for participating in the roll call.
Kate, I think there were a few that you said that are present. Can you go over the not present again, just so they could hear it?
What one was Marshall, and I know Kathy Shaw's there someplace.
Present.
Thank you. And I know I didn't have any from Port Huron, did I?
No.
I wasn't checking them off, so I don't know. I'm counting.
Okay, and we know Romeo wasn't here. And Bay City wasn't here. Looks like I just had those three.
Okay, thank you.
If you are just joining, please make sure that your name, you rename yourself with your first and last name and your branch. Along with me today are Jan Van Gas, Bylaws Director and Resolutions Committee Chair, Kay Callie Martin, Secretary, Sally Doty, Finance Vice President, Kathy Shaw, Nominating Committee, along with several other members of the board. And today we'd like to welcome our past presidents in attendance. So please raise your hand when I call your name digitally. Meg Brown, if you're here, please raise your hand. Joanne Snell. Susan Harris. Harriet Sawyer. Carol Wells. Ruth Brown. Mickey Adele. Kathy Shaw. Sally Doty. Janet Watkins. And Jan Van Gas. Let's give them a round of applause. Remember, you can give them that through reactions as well. Thank you very much for your service to AAUW. Jan Van Gas, will you please present the credentials report?
The answer is no. No, I might have missed some guests. I might have missed. This was much harder than I thought it would be if you didn't have your last name. But anyways, here's what we have, the official, I believe. 4 members of the AAUW of Michigan Board of Directors. And I need you to know that these are how they are voting. There are more board members that are here, but they might be voting in a different capacity. So 4 members of the AAUW of Michigan Board of Directors, 7 past presidents of AAUW of Michigan, 1 college university representative, 27 branch presidents or delegates or designees, 41 voting branch delegates, and that makes 80 in terms of the delegates. I also have that we have 5 guests, and so we would have a total of 85 in attendance. I don't know how that matches our participants, but anyways, there you go. So we do have a quorum because we needed 1/3 of the branches, which was 11. And we also needed 25% of the eligible delegates represented, which would be 26. So we're good. The question, excuse me, is on the adoption of the report of the Credentials Committee. If there is no objection, I will declare the presence of a quorum. Please type into the chat if you wish to voice your objection.
Jan, we have some things that have happened in the chat. For example, Vivian has said that she didn't hear Monroe being called.
Okay.
in the list.
So that would be K's list.
Right. And then also we did not mention that Carol Pike of Birmingham is also a past president. Is Carol on the call?
No, past president of AAUW of Michigan.
Okay,
And to my knowledge, she is not a past president.
No,
of
she's
AAUW.
not a past president of AAUW of Michigan.
Right, right. She's not.
okay.
Could I just ask quickly who 734-658-9014 is? I need to have you rename. All I see is your phone number.
Sharon Belabradich.
Oh, Sharon, thanks. Sorry.
All right.
Sure.
So there being no objection to the adoption of the report of the credentials report, I declare the presence of a quorum.
Thank you, Jan.
Mhm.
The Secretary, Kay Callie Martin, will now present the proposed meeting rules, which can be found on page, and I will go there, page 9 and 10 in the annual meeting book.
Any accredited delegate wishing to speak shall enter into the chat whether she wishes to speak in favor or against the motion and should use the raise hand function. Interruption motions would be example of a point of order, a request for information, or parliamentary inquiry. And you would put that in the meeting chat. No delegate may speak a second time when there are delegates wishing to speak or have not spoken to the question. No one may speak longer than 3 minutes at a time without unanimous consent of the annual meeting. A signal shall be given at 1 minute and 30 seconds before the time limit of each speaker has been reached. A signal will be shown when the time limits have been reached. When a time is up, the speaker's mic will be muted. During debate, an effort will be made to alternate between supporting and opposing arguments. Debate will be limited to 30 minutes on those items requiring a vote. So I move that the adoption of the meeting rules be accepted.
Okay, the question is on the adoption of the meeting rules. Is there any objection to the adoption of the meeting rules? If so, please indicate that in the chat. If you object, or you can also raise your hand and we can call on you, and we will wait for any objections to come through. Okay, there being no objection, the meeting rules have been adopted. The next item is the adoption of the agenda. I'll turn back to the agenda. If there is no objection, the agenda as it appears in the annual meeting book on pages 4 through 5 will be adopted. The chair reserves the right to make changes with the approval of the assembly. Is there any objection to the adoption of the agenda? If so, please put it in the chat or raise your hand and we will wait for objections. Patty, would you like to speak? Oh, you're on mute.
I thought I was raising my hand to say, yes, it's good. Sorry.
Nope, nope. That's okay.
Sorry.
Okay, there being no objections, the agenda is adopted. Moving forward to the minutes of the 100th annual meeting from last year, the meeting of the 100th annual meeting were approved by the State Board of Directors. The minutes are found on page 11 of the annual meeting book. If there is no objection, the minutes of this annual meeting will be referred to the AAUW of Michigan Board of Directors for approval. Is there any objection? And we will give you time to do that either by raising your hand or typing it in the chat. As there is no objection, the minutes of the 100th annual meeting will be approved by the board. The members who have been appointed by the president to review the minutes of this meeting and present them to the board for approval are Kay Kelly Martin, Leah Monger, and Jan Van Gass. The report of the president can be found on page 17 in the annual booklet. I can fast forward to that. Here's the president's report. You can feel free to read that yourself. We've got some exciting things coming up that I hope you do take the time to read that. The finance report can be found on pages 18 through 20. Here's the finance report as well as a numeric report. And I will hand it over to our finance vice president, Sally Doty. I'm sorry, Josetta has a question.
Yes, I was looking at this financial statement and it reminded me also of other branch statements that I've seen. When it says membership dues, does that revenue include revenue dues that are being sent to national, that $17,000 item?
No, Josetta, this is just the part the state gets.
Okay. Oh, you get that much. Okay. I was trying to figure it out with how many members we had and all that. Okay, great. Because on a couple of other things that I'd seen, it included the amount going to national. And I thought, well, wait a minute, it's not staying there, but thank you. I'm all good now.
Thank you. Okay. All right. I would like to, before I start, to say that this graph here that with the numbers, that's the one was from national. I also did one over that I can send to you that has my figures going through each branch, and it is the set. I've got it a little more specific as to how many honorary members and how many new members and so on.
Okay. I don't need that. I don't need that. No.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, here's my report. From July 1st, 2022 through April 28th of 23, AAU of Michigan brought in $22,651 in revenue through dues and fundraising. We have spent 81% of our amended budget with only 2 months of the year remaining. We also have assets in our checking and money market accounts in the amount of $51,905. I would like in my report to draw your attention to the Women's Equality Day event. This past year was our first as the sponsor of this event, and we made a little over $500 on the event. It was very nice in a location that holds more participants than the previous venues have. I'd like you to save the date right now to participate in this event, August 26th, from 11:30 to 2:30 at St. Mary's Cultural Center, 18100 Merriman Road, Livonia. Participants come from many women's organizations, and it's always a joy to meet so many like-minded women, and it's a way that you can help the state make a small profit, and you'll also have an enjoyable time. Please also take a moment to look at the fiscal count. Each year we are joined by 100 to 150 new members across the state, but we always lose at least 200 members. So any ideas that you and your branch have for retaining and attracting new members are welcome at any time. An additional fact is that we have 120 members who are honorary members. That means they've hit their 50 years. While we appreciate and celebrate these members, we ensure that they do not have to pay state dues. So while we are providing a service to every member, we are not collecting the dues from all 1,700-ish members, which has us seeking revenue elsewhere. I encourage all finance officers to make use of the AAUW Hub found on the membership page of the AAUW website. And if I can help you in any way, feel free to call or text me at 248-909-4583. And I would be glad to set up a time where we could actually Zoom and go to the hub and talk your way through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Are there any questions regarding the report of the finance vice president? I do see one in the chat box. It says, you stated a total of 51,000 in assets, which is different than what's printed in assets on the paper here, which is 53,649. Why the discrepancy?
Oh, the 51,000 is as of today. Then when this report went in, it was as of the end of March, I think.
Yes, so there's a month's difference
There's
between
a
the
month
two.
difference, yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Sally on this finance vice president report? Okay. What is the date in August? The 26th,
Yes.
Saturday, the 26th. The finance vice president's report will be filed for audit. Thank you so much. There is a question about Northville Novi. Let me turn the page here.
Oh, there.
Northville Novi is here. While, and I can explain this a little bit. For some reason, when National prints out a list of the branches, it goes all the way to Wyandotte Downriver in alphabetical order. And then there's a sprinkling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 other branches show up at the very end, not in alphabetical order. I don't know why that happens. I have a feeling it's because of the, I always thought it was because of the
It's
the
because of
number,
it's the branch number.
the branch
That's why.
number. It's in numerical order by branch number, and that's not necessarily in alphabetical order. So.
Right.
So I apologize. Some of you will find you're at the bottom of the list, even though you are, Cass City, which should be at the top of the list. So.
Mhm. Okay, good.
All right. The reports of other officers can be found on pages 23, here's programs report, through 30 of the annual meeting booklet. And I would like to ask the other branch officers, or not branch officers, the state officers, does anybody have anything that they would like to add to their report verbally other than what's already in your report? If so, please raise your hand. Okay. Next, the next item of business is the report of the Resolutions Committee. The committee chair is Jan Van Gass from Iron Mountain Kingsford Branch. And the members are Kay Kelly Martin from Battle Creek, Jennifer Cochran from Big Rapids, Joanne Snell from Jackson, Lynn Wilson from Iron Mountain Kingsford. Jan, please present the report of the Resolutions Committee.
The Resolutions Committee report is found on pages 32 to 33 of the annual meeting book. No new resolutions were received for member consideration this year. In addition to presenting any resolutions which have been brought to it, the Resolutions Committee has the responsibility for reviewing past state resolutions and declaring them as either current or historic. A resolution is reviewed every 5 years as long as it is considered current. The resolutions declared historic are maintained as a background resolution or resource for policy development. I move that the recommendation on the following resolution be adopted. And yeah, I was hoping we could show it. Thank you. Society and Education, 1968, recommendation that it be historic. Any questions on that before Sheila makes the motion? Or, yeah. Josetta,
When you say that we're voting to declare this resolution historic, does that mean that's like no longer a part of our mission? What does that mean, resolving it? to historic?
it means that it's maintained as a background resource for policy development, but that it is not current in terms of, well, I can explain why, but first of all, it's really outside of the AAUW mission and it's too comprehensive. I mean,
Okay.
Are we really going to do all that stuff?
Okay. So it's like at one time it was sort of primary and now it's going like just into the background.
It was,
something we
this
have.
resolution is
Okay.
dated 1968.
Yes. Okay.
And-
Thank you. I'm
Okay.
okay.
Any other comments from the chat, or if you'd like to speak, you can raise your hand. Right. The question is on the adoption of the recommendation of the resolutions committee. This does require a vote, so I will put up the vote in a poll. Remember that unless you are have already been designated as a voter today, please do not vote on this. We want the people who are designated to be voting to vote. So I'm going to launch the poll now. Okay, 30 seconds for voting, and I'm going to end the poll. And I can share those results. The polls are closed. The motion on the recommendation of the resolutions committee is adopted. Jan, please present the courtesy resolution.
Yes, we do have a question though.
Oh, I apologize. A voter is a delegate, yes.
On behalf of the resolutions committee, I move the adoption of the courtesy resolution 2023. Whereas AAUW of Michigan expresses appreciation to all AAUW of Michigan board officers and board committees for their many hours of service on our behalf, and extends special thanks to those members whose term of service end in 2023. Finance Vice President Sally Doty, and Membership Vice President Leah Monger. Whereas AAUW of Michigan welcomes the officers elected at this annual meeting and pledges support and cooperation as we work together to promote the mission of the organization, now therefore be it resolved that members of the AAUW of Michigan gathered for the annual meeting salute all those named in this resolution and all who are present. Submitted by the Resolutions Committee.
You've heard the courtesy resolution, and with no objections, I declare the courtesy resolution adopted. And we offer our thanks to Jan and the members of the Resolutions Committee for their work. Thank you, Jan.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is the report of the bylaws director. You could guess who that might be. The committee chair is Jan Van Gass from Iron Mountain Kingsford branch. The members of the bylaws committee are Ruth Brown from the Jackson branch, Mary Mostahim from Ann Arbor branch, Phyllis
Relier.
Thank you. Relier from Rochester branch. Marcia Wainio from Iron Mountain Kingsford branch. Please present the report of the bylaws committee, Jan.
The report of the bylaws committee may be found on pages 34 to 41 of the annual meeting book. The bylaws committee did not receive any branch proposals to amend the AAUW of Michigan bylaws. However, there were committee proposals. These were approved by the AAUW of Michigan board at its January 14th, 2023. So we're going to go through these individually in the groups that I've got listed in the report. I move to amend Article 9, AAUW membership and dues, Section 1 membership, by striking or college university members of AAUW and A, moving this section to B, moving B to A, and adding C. A college university member does not pay state dues. If adopted, Article 9, Section 1 membership and dues would read, Section 1 membership, A. An AAUW of Michigan member is an individual or college university who pays annual national AAUW dues and who may or may not belong to an affiliate. That member shall be entitled to vote, hold office, and participate in all activities and programs of AAUW of Michigan. B, an individual may become a member of AAUW of Michigan upon payment of AAUW of Michigan dues. And C, a college university member does not pay state dues.
The motion doesn't require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to amend Article 9, Section 1A and 1B, and to add Section 1C. Is there any discussion? So you can indicate in the chat box, or you can also raise your hand if you wish to speak. The proposer has the first 3 minutes. So Jan.
Rearranging sections 1A and 1B clarifies who pays dues and delineates the two types of members. Section 1C states that college university representatives do not pay dues, which has been past practice, by the way.
Any other questions or discussions? Okay. The question is on amendments to Article 9, Section 1. I'm going to put up a poll for voting. Polls are open. Okay, polls are officially closed. The motion is adopted. Jan, please continue.
I move in Article 10, meetings, Section 2, representation, to strike sections 2A, 2B, and 2C. Sorry. To replace them with new sections 2A and 2B. If adopted, it would then read, Section 2, representation. A, voting body. All AAUW of Michigan members in good standing as of the official notice of the meeting may participate and be entitled to one vote. B, quorum. The quorum shall be 2% of the state membership as of the official notice of the meeting.
The motion does not require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to delete Article 10, sections 2A, B, and C, and to replace them with a new section 2A and B. Is there any discussion? Please indicate so by typing into the chat or raising your hand. The proposer has the first 3 minutes of discussion. Jan?
Article 10, section or meeting section 2, representation, currently defines the voting body, and we've just gone through this with the credentials report, of any meeting of AAUW of Michigan as being state representatives and affiliate delegates. State representatives include the members of the board of directors, including chairs of all standing committees, past presidents of AAUW of Michigan, convention committee chairs when we have a convention, representatives of college university members, and AAUW of Michigan members serving as national officers or on national AAUW committees. Affiliates delegates include the president or of the affiliate or their designated alternate. One delegate for each 25 members of each affiliate or major fraction thereof, with each affiliate being entitled to at least one such delegate. In addition, one delegate is appointed by the state president for each 25 paid up AAUW of Michigan members who are not represented in the affiliate delegations. The quorum is currently 25% of all members eligible to serve as affiliate delegates and attended, provided 1/3 of the affiliates are represented. This quorum shall include 2 elected officers of AAUW of Michigan. AAUW did away with delegates in 2011 and moved to 1 member, 1 vote. Most states have done the same thing. Our current way of determining the voting body is extremely cumbersome and doesn't allow some that attend the annual meeting to vote. Most states have a quorum of 2% when adopting a 1 member, 1 vote system of voting.
Thank you, Jan. Is there any other discussion on this subject, Harriet?
Am I on?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just curious how this is gonna work. Are people gonna vote ahead of the annual meeting? How have you determined how you're gonna make this thing come together?
I can speak to that because we'll have an in-person convention, but yes, we will. The bylaws committee has met to sort of outline, because the board asked us to do that. And we will have a vote, and those could either be mailed in, or we would prefer they be done online. And then at the actual meeting, we will open any others that, we've received. And that's how we'll do it. And then we'll actually have the people that are there too.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just,
w-
it's, I know how the association does it ahead of time. And I just figured that was probably what you're going to be doing.
Right.
Good
right.
luck. Bye.
Right. Other than, I really do think it will be less cumbersome than this system that we currently have. And I always feel bad we exclude guests who are members.
Thank you. Mary, you have your hand up.
I just want to strongly support this. I think finding delegates to attend this is so difficult, and it'd be so much better to let everybody vote in the branch. Nobody understands delegate voting. And I mean, I think it was like only New York or something that still did it the old fashioned way, like Michigan. So I think we really, really need to change this. I'm in a high support of changing it to one person, one vote.
Thank you, Mary. Any other questions? Okay. The question is on the amendment to Article 10, Section 2. Again, I'm going to put up a poll. And the polls are open for 30 seconds. Okay, thank you. Sharing the results. The motion, polls are closed and the motion is adopted. Jan, please continue.
The question is on, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. I move in Article 11C, nominations and elections, to strike 5 members and to substitute a majority. If adopted, it would then read Article 11, nominations and elections, C, the quorum for this nominating committee shall be a majority.
All right. The motion does not require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to amend Article 11C to change the quorum for the nominating committee from 5 members to a majority. Is there any discussion? If so, please raise your hand or type it into the chat box. The proposer has the first 3 minutes of discussion.
Currently, all 5 members of the nominating committee constitute a quorum. It's difficult to do business when all members of a committee must be present.
Okay, any other thoughts or discussion? Seeing none, I will put up a new poll. The question is on the amendment to Article 11C. Okay, and the polls are open. Okay, the polls are closed. I will share the results. And the motion passes. Jan,
You see
please
that
continue.
Janet Bryant raised her hand.
I'm sorry, no. I don't, oh, no. Janet, did you want to speak? No, she doesn't.
Okay. All right. The question is, wait a minute. Yeah. Sorry. All right. Are we having fun yet? Okay. I move to add additional language to Article 12, Section 1A, permitting co-officers and that they only carry one vote. If adopted, it would read Article 12, AAUW of Michigan officers, Section 1A, elected officers. The elected officers of AAUW of Michigan shall include a president, president-elect, a program vice president, a membership vice president, a finance vice president, a secretary, and an AAUW funds director. Each office may be filled by an officer or co-officers. Each office shall carry one vote.
The motion doesn't require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to amend Article 12, Section 1A to permit co-officers and clarify that co-officers carry one vote. Is there any discussion? Please indicate your questions in the chat box or by raising your hand to speak. The proposer has the first 3 minutes of discussion.
AAUW of Michigan has had co-officers for many years, and it's our current practice. The additional language adds this to the bylaws and clarifies that co-officers only carry one vote.
Any other discussion? Seeing, oh, Diana Mente. The chair recognizes you.
Hi there. I was wondering, is it possible to have any discussion on any of the paragraphs that are not proposed to be changed or not?
Jan, if you're talking, you're muted.
I'm not. It said my internet connection was unstable. So was there a question?
Yep, she asked if it's possible to discuss any of the paragraphs that are not up for discussion or change. In this
Those
meeting.
would be, you would have to submit those to the bylaws committee next year when we have the call for, and usually that goes through early February. It starts in September.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any other discussion on this particular article? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to open the polls for voting. Okay, the polls are closed. And the amendment passed. Jan, please continue.
I move to add additional language to Article 12, Section 1C1 and 1C3 to specify the procedure when there are no candidates for officer positions. If adopted, it would then read Article 12, AAUW Michigan officers, Section 1C, terms of office 1. Except for the president-elect, the officers shall be elected for a term of 2 years or until their successors have been elected or appointed and assume office. The president-elect shall be elected for a term of 1 year and shall succeed to a 2-year term as president in the following term. Article 12, AAUW of Michigan officers, Section 1C3. Elected officers, except the president and president-elect, shall be eligible to serve 2 consecutive 2-year terms in the same office. The president may serve 1 2-year term. The president-elect may serve 1 1-year term, following which they will succeed to the office of president and serve 1 2-year term. Exceptions may be made when there is no other when no other nominee is forthcoming and an extension is agreed to by a majority of board members.
The motion does not require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to amend Article 12, Sections 1C1 and 1C3 to specify the procedure when there are no candidates for officer positions. Is there any discussion? Please indicate by typing in the chat box or raising your hand. The proposer has the first 3 minutes of discussion.
Our current bylaws do not specify the procedure when there are no candidates for officer positions. The additional language will assure that we have officers when there are no candidates.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions?
Oh, asking, did you turn the page, Sheila?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
So the question is on the amendment of Article 12, Sections 1C1 and 1C3 to specify the procedure when there are no candidates for officer positions. I will open the polls for 30 seconds. Polls are now closed and the amendment passes. Jan, please continue.
I move to amend Article 12, Section 3 by striking directors for branch liaison and student advisory council and adding exceptions may be made when no other candidate is forthcoming and an extension is agreed to by a majority of board members. Each office may be filled by an officer or co-officers. Each office shall carry 1 vote. If adopted, it would then read Article 12, AAUW of Michigan officers, Section 3, appointed officers. The appointed officers of AAUW of Michigan may be bylaws and policies, college-university relations, diversity, and public policy. They shall be appointed by the AAUW of Michigan president and approved by a majority of the elected officers of the board. Appointed officers shall serve for a term of 2 years and shall be eligible to serve for 2 consecutive terms in the same office. Exceptions may be made when no other candidate is forthcoming and an extension is agreed to by a majority of board members. Each office may be filled by an officer or co-officers. Each office shall carry 1 vote.
The motion does not require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to amend Article 12, Section 3 to update the appointed officers and to add language that reflects current practice. Is there any discussion? Please indicate so by asking your question in the chat or raising your hand. I do see we have a hand raised, but the proposer has the first 3 minutes. So Jan, if you'd like to speak.
Our current bylaws include appointed officers that we no longer have. The bylaws also do not specify what the procedure is when there are no candidates for appointed offices. The additional language will assure that we have officers when there are no candidates. AAUW of Michigan has had co-officers for many years. The additional language adds this to the bylaws and clarifies that co-officers carry 1 vote.
Diana Mente, the chair recognizes you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see that the text and what Jan read has been changed. There was just a little grammatical error in which I spotted. And so she's nodding her head. So it's been taken care of apparently. Thank you.
Thanks to a proofer, yes. It was Jen Cochran that brought that to my attention.
Oh, okay, great. That's all.
Thank you, thank you. Any other comments or discussion? All right. The question is to amend Article 12, Section 3 to update the appointed officers and to add language that reflects current practice. The polls are open. Okay, the polls are now closed. The amendment passes. Jan, please continue.
I move to strike creation in the title of Article 13, Section 2C, and to substitute supervision, and to strike have the authority to recommend to AAUW the application of any group of graduates qualified to form a branch within the AAUW of Michigan jurisdiction under the AAUW bylaws, and instead substitute recommend to AAUW action to be taken in regard to the admittance of new branches or the discontinuance of current branches within the state. If adopted, it would read Article 13, Board of Directors, Section 2, Qualifications C, Affiliate Supervision. Upon the recommendation of the AAUW Michigan President, the AAUW Michigan Board of Directors shall recommend to AAUW action to be taken in regard to the admittance of new branches or the discontinuance of current branches within the state.
The motion does not require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to amend Article 13, Section 2C by renaming it, adding branches, discontinuing, and making the language more concise. Is there any discussion on this issue? If so, please enter it into the chat or raise your hand. The proposer has the first 3 minutes of discussion.
Our current bylaws do not address branches discontinuing. The proposed amendment is more concise and changes the name of the section to affiliate supervision.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, the question is to amend Article 13, Section 2C by renaming it, adding branches, discontinuing, and making the language more concise. The polls are open. Okay, polls are closed. I will share the results and the motion passes. Jan, please continue.
Last one. I move to delete Article 17 resolutions.
The motion does not require a seconder as it comes from committee. The question is to delete Article 17 resolutions. Is there any discussion? If so, sorry, I do need to turn the page here. If so, please enter your comments into the chat box or raise your hand. The first 3 minutes of discussion will go to the proposer, Jan.
The Resolutions Committee recommends that the Resolutions Committee and its function in the bylaws be eliminated and all current resolutions be declared as historic. AAUW has not had resolution since 2009. And once again, most states do not any longer have them. They were originally developed by AAUW and used by states and branches to determine action items and/or areas of study. AAUW of Michigan has only received 2 resolutions which have been submitted to the resolutions committee since 2009. And one of them was mine. I felt sorry for the committee. AAUW of Michigan public policy priorities include many of the things that our current resolutions say, and AAUW of Michigan issues position statements when there is a need.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Oops, I apologize for that. Seeing none, I will open the poll. However, I do want to acknowledge there is an issue with the name of the poll. It's got the wrong article number, but the question that you're voting on has the correct article number. So I'm going to launch the poll. Polls are closed. I will share the results and the amendment passes. We offer our thanks to Jan and her committee for completing this important task, bringing us up to date on our bylaws. The next item of business is the report of the nominating committee. The nominating committee chair, Kathy Shaw from the Marshall branch, will present the report of the nominating committee. Her committee members are Jean Bevavino from South Haven branch, Sally Doty from Birmingham, Nkenge Gonzalez, who is a member at large, Carol Steinhaus from the Marquette branch. The report can be found on page 42 to 44 of the annual book. Kathy, please present the slate. Oop, Kathy, can you hear us?
There.
Go ahead, Kathy.
I'm, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Oh,
you.
okay, sorry. The slate of officers, I am pleased to present the slate for 2023-2024. The nominee for president-elect is Amy Shamrow. The nominee for membership vice president is Eva Habib. And the nominee for finance vice president is Sally Doty.
You've heard the report of the nominating committee. Nominations from the floor are in order at this time. Are there nominations from the floor for the office of president-elect? If so, please enter the name of the nominee into the chat. Are there nominations for membership vice president? Please enter the name into the chat. Are there nominations from the floor for the office of finance vice president? Please enter the name into the chat. Okay. There being no further nominations, I declare the nominations closed. And the following have been nominated: Amy Shamrow as president-elect, Eva Habib as membership vice president, Sally Doty as finance vice president. The polls are now open. The polls are now closed. I declare the election of Amy Shamrow, Eva Habib, and Sally Doty. Congratulations. Amy Shamrow has been elected as president-elect. Eva Habib has been elected membership vice president. Sally Doty has been elected finance vice president. The reports of the directors are found on page 31 and pages 45 through 48 in the book. Directors are invited to speak if there are updates to their reports. If you would like to say something verbally that's not currently in your report, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Reports by our coalition representative is found on pages 54 to 55 of the booklet. Kenge.
I apologize. I was having some technical difficulties on my end. I just wanted to announce that National is going to be accepting applications for the Inclusion and Equity Committee. If anyone is interested, they can email me.
Thank you, Kenge.
Thank you, Sheila.
We are at the point of the meeting where we discuss unfinished business. However, there is no unfinished business, so we're going to move to new business. Is there any new business? Again, please raise your hand or type in the chat box. Barb Duran. Chair recognizes you.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to let everyone know that for the 2024 convention, we did have a branch step up to host, and it will be Plymouth Canton. So thank you, Plymouth Canton, for taking on this task. We will be working with them from now till next April to set up the in-person convention in Plymouth Canton area. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Plymouth Canton. Any other new business? There is a question in the chat box about finding the AAUW logos. And I think that Leah Monger, our state services manager, can respond to that in the chat so that everybody has the appropriate links. It has been in our newsletter, but she can respond to that. There's also a question about, please let us know the current status of CU partnerships. And I believe we have Amy Shamrow on the call who can respond to that.
So the answer is, I'm forgetting. Oh, this was addressed at the leadership meetings. I did it in person one day, and then it was recorded for others. The answer is we don't have an answer right now for the current status of the CU partnerships. Partnerships remain intact. So if you have a university that's been pairing with you, they're still they're still considered to be a partner. There is still that relationship. What that looks like, what the policies are, that's what's unclear at this time. So as we all know, there's been a lot of changes up at National in a lot of ways, a lot of shrinking of the staff. So I do know that they are working on this. This isn't going to just go away, but it's going to be restructured, and we should be getting some information about that in the near future. So unfortunately, that's all I can say at this point. The only thing I will do, since there was a CU question and I was going to pop in anyways, is just amend. If anybody saw in the chat earlier, I said that I was going to be setting up the Zoom for our Nick Whistle students, because Nick Whistle is still a lot going on. We're still partnered with that, and that still continues. But we'll be having a Zoom on Thursday, May 11th. It was suggested originally, we talked about doing the first week. It was suggested we move it out because finals at most universities are either happening this week or next week. So we will have it Thursday, May 11th. This will be for any Nick Whistle students to join in and kind of get to know each other and share information. I have an email going out this afternoon. I didn't want to kind of get it lost in the flurry leading up to this event. So if you are sponsoring any through your branch, you'll be able to forward that information to your scholarship recipient or your student that you're supporting, or you can use that so they have a way to contact me directly. Thanks so much.
And Leah has added the logo link to download the new logo art in the chat box. Thank you. We can now move to the installation of newly elected officers. I like to do the installation sort of as a parody on the parts of a book. So many of us are readers, and books are an important part of our daily lives. Encyclopedias give us information, cookbooks assist us with recipes, self-help books teach us how to improve ourselves, and novels provide us with escape and entertainment. Whatever subject you can think of, there's a book out there about it. An organization can be compared to a book. Just as there are many elements in a book, there are many facets in an organization. Within a book, you can find a title page, table of contents, a foreword, acknowledgements, page numbers, and many other elements. Likewise, within an organization, you can find members who possess varying skills and take on varying duties. Each part of a book is essential to make it complete, and so too is every member of an organization, necessary to make it whole. Today, newly elected and appointed officers of AAUW of Michigan will be installed using the various parts of a book. A gift of a book will be presented to them at our summer retreat. So let's start with President-elect. A part of a book that represents useful information is the table of contents. Amy Shamrow from Traverse City Branch, as President-elect, you will be requiring leadership knowledge. Your duties will include working with the president and committees to plan programs, priorities, and initiatives for the affiliate. Just as a table of contents lists all the sections of a book, you will be experiencing all aspects of the affiliate to prepare you for the president's role. Amy, as president-elect, will you accept these responsibilities and pledge to model, motivate, and provide leadership guidance to all members? You can unmute yourself and say, I will.
I will.
Congratulations on your office. The membership vice president, Eva. Page numbers are an important part of any book. They help us to keep track of where we are and where we want to go. The pages of our book are our members. Eva Habib, as membership vice president, our pages will become a significant part of your life. You will guide your committee, keep track of our members, promote membership benefits, and help new members become familiar with our affiliate. Eva, as membership vice president, will you accept these responsibilities and pledge to model, motivate, and provide leadership and guidance to all members. Please say I will.
I will.
Congratulations on your new office. And lastly, the finance vice president. Much like the copyright section of the book, the finance vice president position ensures AAUW of Michigan is taking care of business, including following laws, compliance issues, obtaining insurance, and keeping track of budgets and expenditures. Sally, as finance vice president in your second term, will you now accept these responsibilities and pledge to model, motivate, and provide leadership and guidance to all members? Please say I will.
I will.
Thank you. And lastly, we do want to provide the opportunity for each of you to speak for up to 3 minutes, starting with Amy. Is there anything you would like to say?
Sure. Well, I just wanted to say, first of all, I really appreciate Sheila using the book analogy. Unbeknownst to me, for those who don't know, I'm also, my real job or my daytime job is managing 5 international book awards. So it's a near and dear to my heart to talk about books. So I just wanted to say thank you all for electing me as president-elect. For those who don't know me as well, I was critiqued, or I wasn't critiqued, I should say. I was asked if I wanted to expand on my biography before the packet went out, but I'm a millennial, so I guess I'm a little bit more direct and to the point. And so I would share that up front as we're getting used to communications. I like to make sure that everything is just clear and precise as possible, and that we are engaging as many people as possible. And coming into this role, I bring with me leadership in AAUW since 2009, when I joined the Traverse City branch board. I was public policy chair there for 3 terms and was able to do some innovative work there, as well as working with the state and other branches on equal pay day and other policy. But being up north, equal pay day was one that was very easy for us to connect to the whole state on. And I think that's a perspective that I learned very early on that I bring in. And I have seen the state move in this direction, but especially when I first started, leadership at the state level was very based in Southeast Detroit and or Southeast Michigan area. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that sometimes our policies and events were planned around that a little bit more. So it's been really wonderful to take this journey going from public policy director at Traverse City branch. I've been president. I'm in my 3rd term right now with 1 term in between by another person serving. I joined the board of AAUW of Michigan as secretary. So also I thank you all for voting to change to 1 member, 1 vote. That was a chaotic thing to manage. And I think at this point, probably the task is pretty overwhelming to anybody that's not as organized as Jan Van Gass. And with the assistance of Kay, those 2 are a dream team and we can't replicate that for forever. So thank you all for changing that. But that then led me into being able to, I was DEI for a very short period of time. We got Kenge. I've been CU. So I feel like I've had my chance to learn a lot about a lot of different positions over the years. And as was mentioned by Sheila, I look forward over the next year to learning more about the positions I haven't touched, and also just how as state president that all interacts. So while I am the millennial who doesn't like to answer phone calls, you can call me, but you can also text, you can also email. And for those who don't know, I'm also an elected representative here in Traverse City on the city commission. So I kind of mentioned that too, because I do like to say, sorry, I've hit my 3 minutes. We were just told yesterday, so I went over a little. But anyways, I would just want to say that I do take everybody's opinions into consideration as we're considering items.
Thank you. Thank you. Eva, would you like to speak?
Yes. Okay, I am Eva Habib, for the people who don't know me, and I right now I serve as the Vice President of Diversity and Vice President of Program and co-chair for Diversity in Grosse Pointe branch. I graduated from the American University in Cairo with chemistry major and worked for the city of Detroit water and sewage department for almost 30 years and was promoted to a laboratory supervisor. After my retirement, I engaged myself with nonprofit organizations as well as charity organizations. I became a member at AAUW and Rotary, and also Together Women Rise. I have a passion for serving women and children in particular, and people in general. My goal this year, or in my term actually, for Michigan AAUW is to create an open line between the membership committee chairs in the branches with the state membership committee. And that open line will be like, we can deal with each other and we can work with each other on regular basis. And also create what I would call a guideline or a booklet. I don't know what it is, but it's a guide that will direct us to serve our members better, and also to get them more engaged in what we do and to get them more engaged with our mission, so we can promote our mission state-wise and national-wise and serve more women and more girls. And I hope I can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eva. Sally, did you want to make any comments?
Yes, well, after those months, absolutely. I just want to, you must know that. As most of you know, I have been involved with the state since maybe 2005, off and on, several times as finance vice president and as secretary, which was the worst job. I just want to tell you that I'm really thinking good things about this board because we have so many younger people on here, Sheila and Amy and Barb, and they just, you know, and Kengi, and I'm probably forgetting the youngest one, but I'm so happy to see people, younger people coming on board, because we need to be thinking in new ways. We have to change what we've been doing if we're going to succeed. They told us that back in Phoenix, and we're still working on it. So I will, and I know that on this call here, on this thing, that there's all sorts of people on here that could serve as vice president finance on this state board. It is not a hard job. It's probably easier than your branch job. So just call me. Yeah, I'm recruiting, please. But I will continue to serve until I don't have to anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. So congratulations to our newly installed officers. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen briefly because we are going to do some announcements. These can be found on pages 56 through 58 of the annual meeting. Making sure, just a reminder to vote in the member election for AAUW. It started on April 5th. It'll go till April 15th. If you haven't yet, please make sure you vote. Also, a reminder that branch annual dues are due on June 1st. And then save the date. Sally mentioned this earlier, but a save the date for the Women's Equality Day celebration on August 26th. What I can tell you about that, we expect it to be one of the biggest events that we've of the Women's Equality Day that we've done. And Governor Whitmer has been invited to speak. We are waiting to see if she accepts, but we anticipate there being a big celebration for that event. Additionally, we have our regional AAUW event. Several states, AAUW of Missouri kicked it off. They're kind of leading the charge, but It's called the Central States Regional Conference. They're putting together, and it's in St. Louis, Missouri. It'll be on October 19th through the 21st. We are looking at transportation at the state level to either all of us take a train or use a bus. We're trying to work that out so that we can all kind of go together and even, like hopefully, ideally, maybe be in the same, train car and actually talk about, AAUW on the way down there and the way back. But we'll see how that goes. So that is coming up. This is the first official flyer. And full conference details are at aauw-mo.auw.net. Okay. Also in the back of the book, we've taken, this is Leah Monger, our state services manager, has scoured the internet and looked at all of your Facebook pages to try to identify, bring in some photos for to do this year in pictures. So you might look through the back of the book and identify some familiar faces. Some of you who are on this call are in these pictures, but she's tried to pull together kind of a year in pictures, what has occurred in the various branches, things that we can be proud of. Is there any additional information or announcements anybody would like to share? Yes, national voting lasts until May 15th. That's correct. Okay. I don't know if this was a record short meeting or if I just wanted to pat myself on the back, but it seems like we got through that pretty quickly. Seeing no other comments, I want to thank you all for participating in the 101st annual meeting of AAUW of Michigan. And we look forward to next year's 102nd. And the annual meeting is adjourned. I have my gavel. I can do the official wrap of the gavel. Thank you so much for participating, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye
Or
now.
day, sorry.
Bye.
Thanks for